What is going on, you guys? Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to share with you a simple brand strategy framework that I love to use. Because when you're new, I think it's just so much more important to just get right into action, have enough clarity to move forward, but not get stuck on the planning pieces. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting here for months, if not years, before you can actually move forward, grow your audience, make an impact, and actually, make money. This is actually what I'm focusing on this week in my Money Like Honey business that I'm just getting started right now. So you're in luck. I'm going to show you everything that I'm coming up with, how I'm thinking about the process. So hopefully this is going to be helpful for you as well. So something that I teach my clients is really focusing on creating aligned strategy. So you want your strategy to be powerful enough to actually make an impact, but not so nitty-gritty and detailed where you're getting stuck in the planning process, you're overthinking. There are actually 4 different components that we're gonna get into: the target audience, the brand heart, the brand voice, and the brand identity. So really the visual identity. Now, if that sounds good to you, make sure before we move forward, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up so that you can stay updated with future videos and I can say hello to you. Make sure that you pop in the comments and say that you subscribed so I can actually celebrate you and feel so happy that you're here and you're helping not only my channel grow, but I get to feel like I'm actually helping you grow your business too. This is why I'm doing this. Oh, before we keep going, look at who just decided to join us. The first component, of course, is your target audience. This isn't necessarily as huge of a part of a brand strategy itself, but understanding who your target audience is going to inform everything you're going to come up with when it comes to the brand strategy. If my goal is to attract, people in their 40s and 50s, my messaging and my visual brand and pretty much everything about my brand is going to be a little bit different than if I was attracting people that are like, in their 20s, for example. What I wanted to identify for myself is, who do I actually really enjoy speaking with? Who do I feel like it's going to be more natural for me to speak with when it comes to my new business? And it's okay if it's not an extremely narrow area. So this is a big mistake that I see a lot of people making. They're trying to make this ideal client profile, and I do have a video that I talked about this, where you don't actually have to get as narrow as you think you need to. You just have to identify what is the range of the typical people that will resonate with your channel. And it's okay if some of those people are gonna be a little bit different. I have people who have purchased things from me within Heart Behind Hustle that are as young as 18 and up to I think it was 60 or something like that. However, there is typically a sweet spot for most people joining my programs. For Money Like Honey, it is a little bit of a different focus, but I do know that I personally like to serve both men and women, and that's what I do with Heart Behind Hustle as well. So I'm probably going to attract 60% women, 40% men, which is actually quite a bit different than Heart Behind Hustle, which is more 95% women and 5 amazing percent of men. I love them. But with Money Like Honey, I'm not going to be using visuals that are, pink and things like that, which is what I do with this brand. My age range I'm going for is probably between 20s and 30s, because I'm going to talk about money mindset, abundance. I'm going to talk about actually making money in a variety of different ways. So a lot of the people that will be attending and signing up for my stuff will be entrepreneurs and business owners because of the overlap that I already have. However, I do envision that other professionals might also be interested in some of the content as well. The very surface level, that's pretty much it. Of course, you can go a little bit deeper. We're not going to spend too much more time on this. I do actually have a mini course that I run every so often called Aligned Positioning and Messaging. So I did actually drop the link in the description if you want to check out. It is actually a 14-day course that I run every so often. Is a live course. If you are struggling with identifying your positioning, your messaging, your ideal client, all these different things for your online business, that would actually be a great thing for you to apply for. So the second thing you need to identify is your brand heart. What does that mean? It sounds so good. Basically, you need to identify what is your brand positioning, what is your vision, what are your values, what's your mission. So what is at the heart of your brand? The positioning stuff, we can talk about that inside of the course. You can apply below. But the mission, the vision, the values, these are things that you need to identify for your brand so that you actually understand what makes you different from someone else that is potentially doing the same thing as you are. When I was identifying what the values should be, I was really thinking about what makes me excited, creativity and fun and being friendly and being smart when it comes to money. I really want to create the blend of just having fun with it and being casual while also inspiring and empowering people that it's okay. Wherever it is that you are in your journey, it's okay, and you can only go up from there. It's about really that approachability that I'm looking for when it comes to my brand. The third thing you want to identify is your brand voice. So the brand voice is basically, how do I know it's you, brand, versus someone else when I'm hearing you speak, when I'm seeing your content, when I'm seeing your videos? What is it about the way you're framing things? What is it about the way you're saying things that makes you at least somewhat unique? Of course, there's no such thing as complete uniqueness, especially nowadays, but how do you actually stand out? What is that personality of the brand? For my brand personality, it's about being approachable and being fun, and also being smart and grounded at the same time as being inspired and hopeful, and really celebrating ourselves and celebrating our wins. So it's a space of that expansiveness that I'm looking for, that's still fun and rooted in really being grounded and just enjoyment of the everyday, if you will. Personality is going to be quite casual and really speaking in a normal tone, not getting too complicated, not getting too techy, which most finance experts I've seen tend to be a little bit complicated with how they're explaining things. Sometimes I don't get it, and I admit that I'm not necessarily a finance expert. I'm someone who's been looking into finance over the last few years, and I want to start sharing what I'm learning and what I've done in my business and my life that has helped me feel more financially secure and financially safe and smart. Really talking about it like a real human being, right? Having fun with it, making it enjoyable, and that's the personality I'm looking to evoke. Within that, you can also identify what are some key phrases you might want to be using. So I know for sure I'm going to be using things like, there's going to be a whole section where I'm going to talk about attracting money like bees to honey, right? Which makes sense because the brand name is Money Like Honey. So I know I'm going to be using that tagline. I might potentially sometimes say like, oh, money like honey, you think it's cheesy. I think it's sweet. That's how money gets to be, right? So I'm going to it all sounds really cheesy, right? But that's kind of the point. I want it to feel like you're not watching some boring video that's about finance and you're kind of like snoozing and you're like, I don't even know what this person's talking about. I don't get it. Right? So I want to make this stuff more accessible, and I want to make this feel more fun for people. It is going to be a young voice, but not so young because I'm not up to date with all the slang. I'm 31. I don't know what the kids are saying nowadays. I don't even know. I don't really stay up to date, and I'm not super into pop culture. So I'm going to speak like a normal 30-something-year-old, and I'm just going to share, and whoever resonates with this will resonate, and that's totally fine. And the last part is the brand identity, or more specifically, the visual identity. So how do I visually know that I'm looking at you, the brand that you have created? So of course, a big part of this is identifying what the logo should be. I did 2 videos in the past about this, so you can see what the different logo options I had. I was comparing a lot of different options there. You also want to identify, things like typography. So what are the fonts you're going to be using? A great place to look for things like this is actually Pinterest. And you'll see what different font choices you could use together. Honestly, I think those places are going to explain it way better than I ever could. Now, the other thing you want to identify is the color palette. So this is actually the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with in terms of the logo, and then is the color palette. So what colors are you actually using for your brand that make you stand out from someone else? And you do this by identifying what your color palette should be, and it doesn't have to take a long time to identify what this is. A place I love to use for identifying and coming up with different color palettes, and it's what actually I used for a slight tweak to my branding for Heartbeat and Hustle, is coolers. So all you have to do is when you're on here, you can look at trending palettes. So this will show you basically what people are usually using, what seems to be popular right now, and you can see so many beautiful colors. And the cool thing is that when you go into each one, it will tell you exactly what it is, and you get to change them out if you want to. So when it comes to your brand colors though, you do want to make sure that you're not using colors that are going to look a little bit odd if put in a website. For example, looking at something that's all tones of blue. Yeah, blue looks nice on its own if you're using it for, I don't know, something. But if you only had blue and that's it and just shades of blue on your website, it's just gonna look a little bit odd. So you usually are going to have just a few different colors that are working together, and they're different colors that are working together to form your brand. So I also typed in the color yellow, or the name yellow here, and it's showing me all the trending palettes that have the color yellow in them. And I can immediately see these yellows are not what I'm looking for. They're way too bright. A lot of them are neon, and it's absolutely not what I'm looking for. So another option that you can use here is you can go into one of these color palettes that does have the color that you like, and you can see similar palettes that actually have this color in it already. So for example, potentially this color. I clicked over on this and I'm gonna go over to the top, and I'm actually gonna paste this hex code in. And now I'm seeing all the color palettes that actually include that specific hex code. So, you know, you can basically compare and contrast and see, compare and contrast. You can see which options kind of work for you and basically go from there. Basically what I do is I'm just gonna dive into this, identify which kind of color scheme I'm liking the most that actually works for what I'm looking to communicate. And when I'm done, I'm going to put it together into a YouTube banner and things like that. Let me know below if you got some insights from this, or if you're missing anything, or if you want to just tell me about your brand. I'm super happy to hear all about it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.